now we're good again? Okay, hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Dr. Erica Barron and this is Ellen Carosa, the Cat LVT, and we're here at Nova Cat Clinic. We know we haven't done one of these in a while. We've been pretty busy.
Very busy. It's been a really busy season.
Yeah, and I've been sick, so I haven't had a voice, so that doesn't help either. I mean, you didn't want to hear it. So today, if there's no questions, then feel free to put them in as we go. We're just going to give you some tips about keeping your cats, and if you have a dog too, maybe your dog's safe during the holiday season.
I feel like during this holiday season, particularly the one that's coming up, it's like Turkey Liberation Day or Thanksgiving, however you want to call it, they're the ones that get in the most trouble, but cats actually get in trouble during this Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, because they like poultry and they like to eat bones. They like to swallow things. It's not a good scene.
I feel like, they all kind of like kitchen shark when people are cooking and stuff, and then more likely they dumpster dive and they get into trouble that way. But as a veterinarian, what do you tend to see as the most common post-holiday emergency?
So I feel like if I were in an emergency room, the most common thing would be dietary indiscretion, eating things you're not supposed to. Whether that be, people use a lot of raisins when they're cooking, and dogs and cats shouldn't have any raisins or grapes. Or if I know whenever I cook, I like a lot of onions, and onions are very bad for both dogs and cats. So I feel like the ER season I worked when I was in vet school, feels like so long ago now, we saw a lot of dietary indiscretion, and also we had a couple dogs and one cat eat a bone. But I feel like a lot of times for cats, at least when we work here, I feel like the day after Thanksgiving, we have a lot of stress, secondary holiday stress, whether that's cystitis or they have hematuria or bleeding, urinating blood, or having just stress colitis, so diarrhea from stress, or sometimes just not eating, not feeling well, kind of a nondescript, I don't feel well cat from stress. That's what I usually see. What do you think you see?
No, I agree with you, because I think a lot of times during the holiday season, everybody gets a little, I don't want to call it lazy, but very lax when it comes to medicating their pets appropriately, because you get out of that routine, and we all know that cats are very routine oriented. And then they go and they invite family members over because they want to host whatever holiday that they have, and maybe your cat, if you know your cat is the kind of cat that gets stressed with guests over, you're putting them in a position that it's going to cause even further stress, and that starts this cascade of an illness. So what we tend to get in the day after is usually now my hyperthyroid cat is having some problems, or my cat that has heart disease is now having some significant problems. And then you wind up finding out that they've been out of town, or they had the pet sitter only coming once a day, or the neighbor only coming once a day. So this pet's not being medicated appropriately. And so now you wind up with even more expenses, because the one complaint that we get is it's the holidays, and now I'm not going to have any money for Christmas, whatever. And it's at one moment you're yeah, I kind of feel bad about that. And then at another moment it's you should know that you have a responsibility. Come on, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You have these problems here. And if you know that your pet does not respond well to stress around the holidays, why are you doing it to them anyway? If you know year after year you see the same pattern, why are we doing it all the time? And you can't have that feeling of guilt around your family, because you're not doing something immoral, unethical, or illegal. You're sad that you can't do this because your pet's stressed. Well, go somewhere else.
Right.
How hard can it be to make certain accommodations for your pets? And I think people would be a lot happier if they understood where their pets were coming from, as well as understanding the dynamic of the household. So I think there's a significant lack of that communication that happens with that human-animal bond, that all of a sudden that bond of trust gets broken right around the holidays all the time. And we see a massive amount of euthanasias too, because of stress and failure for disease management and all these other problems.
Well, and the other problem is if we look at this from an integrative standpoint, anytime there's a season shift, if you're on the edge, you might not be able to handle the season shift. That's just the course of disease and the course of life. It's just what it is. And the season shifts in November, December. That's how it happens. And so all these pets, especially the last 2 weeks, we've had here in Northern Virginia, the weather has changed dramatically in the last 2 weeks. It is now winter outside. It feels like winter finally. We went from, the beginning of October that was 90 degrees and, it was 30 degrees last week. A lot of pets, if they're delicate, and a lot of people, if they're delicate, this push will push them over the edge. So I think just it's natural this time of year where some of our sicker pets would have an issue anyway, and then adding on the stress of holidays and the change of schedule. The kids aren't at school all day, now they're home doing whatever, and the cat's like, why are you here? Why are you in my space all day when I liked my time by myself? Or maybe it's now there's a lot of visitors during the day, like the kids are having friends over, or you go on vacation and I like seeing you every day and now you're not here. And that's just normal parts of life. If you talk to your veterinarian before the season, and you're going to have 20 people over for Thanksgiving, or even 5 who aren't the normal cat family, maybe it makes sense for us to help you give them something to make that day easier.
Yep.
You just have to talk to your vet about it. We could do Zilking, we could do Feel Away, we could do it, depending on if it's really an issue, we can consider gabapentin. There's lots of things. Right. You just have to talk.
Right, and what kind of environmental changes that you can make to make the pet feel safer the entire time, especially at home. And I don't think a lot of people understand that your veterinarian is actually a really good resource for finding all that out. That's what we're there for, is that we actually want to help you create the perfect feline environment. And so, we're not just there to make sure your pet is healthy and give vaccines and clean teeth, etc., but they're actually there for you to help with behavior modification and environment modifications, because that's all part of, I feel like it's not like lifestyle wellness for cats.
Think about it this way. Say I'll use me as an example. We have a 2-bedroom apartment, and whenever we used to have people stay with us before we had kids, they got the second room to sleep in. Well, my cat Cosmo didn't really like most people. He liked 5 of us on a good day. So he would get really extra frustrated when the sun hit that bed perfectly during the day. That was his spot during the day. And all of a sudden he has somebody he doesn't like there. So he would get pretty mad. So it's just thinking we're having someone stay with us. Is that the cat's favorite bed during the day? Okay, it is. What can we do to help with that? Just thinking like that. It's just a little twist.
Right, and then that's a good point that you also brought up, and I like the word that you used, is frustrated, because a lot of people will come back that their cat actually does quote unquote redirected aggression towards family members during this time of year, and it's actually them acting out because they're simply frustrated. They're not aggressive. That they're fearful or frustrated, and this is the only way that they can communicate with you because the language is so different.
Do we have any questions today? Nope. We're hitting everything.
We're on
so
point.
Perfect.
Because we did it on the fly, because we didn't give everybody a heads up.
It's been months. We've been busy.
We've been busy. We've been working really hard on the podcast. It is coming. Be patient with us.
Yes.
We have run into some minor issues with that.
Just little hiccups.
So
it is
coming.
Awesome.
It is coming.
And if there's something you want us to talk about on the podcast, let us know.
Yep.
Or we'll try to do a couple of these, in the next couple weeks, just because we haven't in a while.
Right. So recap for Thanksgiving. Watch what you have to eat in the house. Reminder:
no garlic, no onions, no grapes, no raisins.
Watch those candles. People like to have candles. Minimize the amount of stress in the household. If you can combat stress beforehand, that's even better. But obviously we'll be here the day after Thanksgiving to help take care of your pet emergencies.
It'll be so much fun. I feel their excitement already, don't you?
Right, I know.
All right, well, thanks for sharing this time with us. Don't forget to visit our website at novacatclinic.com, and if we can answer any questions for you, just let us know. Bye, thank you.